the Sim Pit. I'm your host, Shaun Cole. Welcome to today's edition of the Pit Stop, where you, the mighty pit crew, you are the real star of today's show. Thank you for being here. Happy Monday to everybody. I hope everybody had themselves a hell of a weekend. I had such a great weekend. I am a little drained, I will say. I'm a little tired. I'm feeling like I'm a little stressed out, too. I probably need a break. Anyway, this weekend was fantastic. Friday night, we had our NASCAR race, which was a lot of fun at times. Saturday, we had our patron race, which was a blast to watch. I didn't get to race in it, but I got to watch flag to flag on it. And then, lastly, for me, was yesterday we had our GT1 challenge, which has been a really challenging series. I think the name is rather appropriate. But I was racing against my friends. I was racing against my rivals all weekend. And it was a good weekend. It's what more could you ask for than hanging out with your friends and doing your favorite sport, hobby, common interest, that being sim racing. So what is going on in sim racing? You guys feel free to chime in. Let me know what you think is going on in sim racing. If I don't have it, maybe I'll go grab it. Maybe it's something I'm already ready to talk about. I see somebody mentioning Vurtual R. Isn't that awesome? That is one of our stories today for sure. Vurtual R back in business. That is really great. I believe Montoya, I think, is the name behind that one, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was Montoya. So welcome back. We'll get to that as well. But of course, if there's anything that you guys know of, chime in, get the conversation going. And thank you for being here, because that is the whole point of the Pit Stop. I've changed the mentality. We've changed the title. It's not Sim Racing News anymore. It's hanging out with our buddies. It's hanging out with sim racers, talking sim racing. I see Scott Hughes just subbed with Twitch Prime. Thank you very much for that. Much appreciated. Anything you guys can do to help, I tell you, it goes a long, long way. Thank you very, very much. So what is going on in sim racing? What did you guys watch? What did you guys take part in? Right now, and it's kind of going to come to an end. So what I warned you when this whole pro ESport thing came onto the horizon is that it would disappear as quickly as it came. Now, I don't think it'll be quite like that. I don't think it's like one day it's here, the next day it's gone. But I think we can start to safely say these are going to start tapering off, and these series are going to start going back to real life, and they will not have this much story. So I'm going to now thank, really quickly, yes, Mike MBT just subscribed with Twitch Prime. Thank you so much, buddy. Oh, Mike, thank you. I'm going to thank them, though. I'm going to thank all these pro series for giving us a giant, giant spike in what's going on in sim racing. A giant spike in attendance, in viewership, all of that. So thank you so much. And now I'm going to wish you good riddance. Goodbye. I can't wait to go back to regular news. I can't wait till the focus of the sim racing conversation on the Twitter sphere for all of our sim racing companies goes back to us, the sim racing public. I feel like they've not neglected isn't quite the word. We've been pushed aside, I think is safe to say. And all in the name of growth, all in the name of better things. It's okay. I am okay with where we're at. I am okay with what they've done. I'm okay with them going back to normal. I'm okay with us being the recipients of that growth. I really am. Viral Bunny, mild hype over the old NASCAR coming to iRacing. I agree. I don't know if it's overhyped, though. I think you used the word mild rather well there. I'm kind of excited because we're talking about two cars that were in the era of my NASCAR fanship and in the era of when I think that sport was at its pinnacle or peak, its best years perhaps. And I don't think that it's been as exciting to me since then. I could be wrong on that. There could be other factors for why I'm no longer a NASCAR fan like I was in the 80s, 90s, and even early 20s. Anyway, all right, so did I bring down, I brought down my thing so you guys can see what I'm looking at. We're going to blow through the NASCAR weekend. I'm just going to blow through it because, again, if I have all the links to all the stories that I'm going to touch upon. So if you want to go to them, they're down below in the description of the show. I'm going to blow through them because you probably saw them, you probably know, or you probably care or don't care. Denny Hamlin wraps up eNASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series with North Wilkesboro win. Now, North Wilkesboro being that newly added to the service track. By the way, here is
Denny Hamlin. He is your victor, and let's head down there for the celebration.
speaking of his virtual victory there, anybody watch the UFC events? I watched one of the prelims, and it was very funny because the guy came out of the tunnel with his music playing, and they're doing his announcing, and he's putting his hands up, and he's acknowledging the giant crowd of non-existence there, and he even gave some high fives to some of the fans that weren't there, and I thought it was very funny. And sports coming back online. I think this is very relevant to NASCAR, IndyCar, MMA, football, baseball, whatever sport you want to play. Is it the same? Like, okay, I'm going to give you an example. If I go back in time in NASCAR to a race that was run on a Monday or Tuesday due to canceled to weather during the weekend, which has happened. So when NASCAR red flags, black flags the race, cancels Sunday, can't get it back running, maybe can't even do it Monday. So Monday or Tuesday they do the race, and like maybe 15-20% of the people who have tickets are able to go or care enough to go on Monday or Tuesday, so that stands are empty. And I'm just thinking, is any sport even close to it as exciting without a crowd? I mean, isn't that an essential part of sport? I'm not sure sports translates even to television without a crowd. I think there's one crucial, critical element missing. Baseball, hands down, baseball without fans isn't even worth doing, in my opinion. I'm sorry, I'm a big baseball fan, but without fans, canned crowd noise. Can you imagine if sports became like sitcoms? Talk about a home field advantage. You can't. Sometimes home field fans will even boo. They'll get rid of that. Anyway, all right. So Hamlin wins the newly released North Wilkesboro. I say newly released. We're going to come back to that comment or statement. Mitchell DeJong takes damaged car from 6th to win, feeding America IRX Battle of Atlanta, and clinches the title. Congratulations to my friend, or at least somebody I can say. No, I can't say we're friends. It's not like I'm gonna get a phone call on Thursday from Mitch, but I do know him. I mean, if we ran into each other in public, he knows me, I know him. Anyway, he's donating $5,000 to a charity of his choice. Sage Karam. Like I said, these guys are just running all of them. The guys who sim run all of the series. Those who don't, bitch and complain about it. All right, what else? Beneke back on top in the Porsche. Tag Heuer. Can someone correct me on Heuer? How do you correctly say Heuer? Hauer? Tag Hauer? That can't be Hauer. Why wouldn't it have an A? Heuer? Tag Heuer, ESport Super Cup at Barcelona, Verstappen. Isn't there a thing where you can get like fanatical words said to you on Google somewhere? Zero bandwidth. Thank you for that point. And if you see zero bandwidth, put an exclamation mark before it so that I could see his statement. And it is such a great statement. And to come back to what I was saying about if it's essential to have fans. The huge stands at Daytona are always empty for the Rolex 24, but it's awesome racing. I completely agree with you. I don't have anything other than, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right, but it still is a fact. Incorrect. Tag as a whore. Thank you, Oh Strike. Thank you very much for that. It is Tug Heuer. It's Tug Heuer. All right. Anyway, Verstappen cracked into the podium amongst the aliens of aliens, by the way, which is no surprise. The guy is an alien sim racer. We already saw Hamlin's victory. Here's the other. So the question is it hype? Is it overhype? These are the new cars coming to iRacing. They scanned, and I thought I saw a picture of them scanning the black number 3, if I'm not mistaken, as well. We're going to have to look at their Twitter page with a little bit of enthusiasm looking for it. But that is the number 3 old school Wrangler Jeans car of Dale Earnhardt. I loved that car so much. And you know what's funny? I'm a Levi's guy. I've never even owned a pair of Wrangler. And I still love that car so much. Probably because it was Dale Earnhardt, to be honest with you. Virtual event. Virtual fans. I can't wait till the day where you can see what the other guy's doing in VR. Big movie. Yeah, Norman, I have tried the big screen movie experience in VR. I didn't care for it all that much. And then, yes, thank you, Scott, keeping me back on track. I don't drink, and if I did drink, I don't drink beer, and if I drank beer, it wouldn't be Coors. And I don't mean that to offend anybody. Let's start with my first statement, I don't drink. But that car, the number 9 of Awesome Bill from Dawsonville, Bill Elliott. That car I mentioned on Friday or Wednesday's show, that was the first car to break 200 miles an hour. That is the car that caused NASCAR to have to rethink the capability of the cars and the speed and create things like restrictor plates to prevent people from going too fast. I would love to drive that number 9 Ford Thunderbird, record-breaking Ford Thunderbird. These are two such iconic cars that I think it is fairly important, fairly awesome that they are coming to the sim. There has been a lot of hype. I think, again, there are a lot of people who have been longtime NASCAR fans, and these two cars both. I mean, they couldn't have picked... Well, I mean, there are a lot of cars they could pick. They picked two extremely important cars, iconic cars that had massive fan bases that might have even gone beyond just NASCAR. Yeah, they might have picked the blue and yellow one for a reason. I'm sure there's a popularity contest involved as well. All right, what else is going on? NASCAR post-race show on YouTube for the Invitational. Blue Emu. Okay. Yeah, so look. Kevin Iannarelli. Sorry, I screwed up his name. Ta-da! That's NASCAR Hall of Fame. I have been here. I've been on this floor. I've been in this area here. See all the dots all over the car? Those are points of reference to line up and match on the scan. If anybody watched the Dale Earnhardt North Wilkesboro, you saw the little pods they were putting around as alignment points, so they had consistent points they could use for overlapping from angles. Same thing here. Similar thing, I should say. But yeah, look at this. Look at this. So we got more Earnhardt action. What else? BMW. Again, eSport, I'm blowing through it. BMW talking about Sim 120. Lauren Heinrich and Alexander Voss win the BMW Sim 120. Here's the Pro Invitational driver lineup. Some big names there. Here's... Oh, and the Indy 500. Who ran? How many of you guys ran the Indy 500 and how'd you do? I didn't do it. I've stopped doing the Indy 500 because I've just had horrible results after horrible results. I'm afraid of that race at this point. All of them self-induced, by the way. I just can't run that track for some reason. Anyway, there's a guy winning his Malik. Who's Malik Ray? You guys know Malik Ray? I don't know Malik Ray. But there he was winning his. Due to popular demand, North Wilkesboro will be released tomorrow. Tomorrow is today, by the way. This was posted 20 hours ago. So now it's your turn to go at NASCAR racing at this historic track. So, there you go, guys. North Wilkesboro for everybody. Thank you, Cyanide. O'Reilly, that's great. Mitchie's team Burst are leading constructors in the race competition, but sim drivers class. Jerry, that would be great if they added Pontiac and Grand Prix Buick. That's cool. Awesome. Good job for him. Yeah, I know. I never heard his name, but that's great. Thanks. That's why I say at the beginning of the show that you guys are the real star of today's show. I mean, you guys are the ones keeping me in check. You are the ones who've got my back. You are the ones who know what's going on as much and more than I do in some cases. So thank you for that. Again, here in North Wilkesboro Speedway, available on iRacing on Monday. Today is Monday. Not yet. Some point. They're being slow. You know, it's lucky I needed to be on iRacing today in order to get some graphics and things. If they had been shut down, I would have been in real trouble. I have him muted, don't I? Okay, there we go. There we go. Assetto Corsa talking about their eSport that went on during the weekend. So round 2 of the SRO eSport series kicks off later today. That was on Saturday. The calm before the storm. We talked about. We showed the video of the carnage that ensued after this photo shoot. It was pretty funny and entertaining. You can see that on Friday's show if you missed it. Williams eSport. They have some more Assetto Corsa action today with round 2. They're talking about it. Live now, round 2, blah, blah, blah. You can watch it on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch, the SRO eSport series. And we've got even more for you today. GT World Champ, GT Rival Racers head to Suzuka today. That was all on Saturday. Yesterday. And you can check that out if you want to see. I didn't know if any of that. Also, the race. This is where Mitchie's team is leading in the points. And it's hard to even keep track of unless you're going to sit here for a little while. So if you start off on the 9th, would be Saturday. Here you've got Professional Nico Wisniewski. You've got Sim Masters still on the 9th. And it goes just on and on and on. They had their the Sim Stars version, the All-Star Race version, the Legends version. Here's Jensen Button not taking any chances. Sitting on the pole. Back to winning ways. Jensen Button in the Legends Trophy race. There are your results there. I don't know about VR. We just know what it's coming out in just a few months. I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but August? Is August right? Tiff's TV. There you go. Jensen Button. So, yep, there are links there. It's to the... Whoa. I guess that was my way of screwing that up good, huh? Peter Solberg. There's Peter Solberg after winning the Legends Trophy reverse grid. Yeah. Oh. I love all the people in the background of all the different things you're seeing on TV nowadays. That cracks me up. Anyway, all sorts went on over the weekend. If you didn't see it, if you're bored out of your mind at work, go to the links for some of these places. You're going to find some of the latest in the eSport that went on. And we have a few more to cover, I do believe. We're not done. This is Development Director Robert Karp revealing how Dirt 5 is utilizing the power of the Xbox Series X. with 120 hertz in racing.
That's where the actions are. On top of that, so gamers know frame rate counts, 120 hertz in racing. That's where the actions are. On top of that, small delivery.
I mean, that's a pretty big deal. Xbox Series X going to maintain 120 hertz, aka frame rates. I don't know, is a hertz identical to an FPS, or are they just close? I mean, I've never understood how our industry, and if anyone can explain this to me and everyone who doesn't understand it like me, what is the difference between a hertz and an FPS? But anyway, that's great news for Dirt 5. That's great news for future gaming on Xbox titles across the board. I mean, if you think about it. Formula One, talking about their virtual GP and everything that went on there. Blah, blah, blah. More ESport Weekend, ESport Weekend, ESport Weekend. Yes. I didn't watch any of it. I'm over it. I'm too busy. I can tell you that George Russell won the virtual GP race for Williams eSport. And this is from George and their Monday motivation. Yep. Yeah, I'm totally over the eSport thing. Hertz is frequency, aka max FPS possible. That leaves me still not knowing anymore. Thank you, but I don't know anymore. But if so, what is really critical to sim racing? Is it 120 hertz or is it 120 FPS? That's what I don't understand. John Cheel watched it. 0. Refresh rate of the screen in hertz is not necessarily the number of frames rendered per second FPS. So again, if Dirt is claiming that they're going to be at 100, listen to his statement.
So 60 FPS, but also the option for 120 hertz. So gamers know frame rate counts, 120 hertz in racing. That's where the actions are. On top of that,
So this is coming, and this is why I think there's a lot of confusion to someone like me. This is a development director bragging about what they're going to do. This is great. I'm not trying to take away from what they've accomplished and what we have in the future. What I don't understand is right there in this one sentence, he switched back and forth from frame rates to hertz, talking about how essential frame rates are, and then immediately switched back to hertz when talking the number. Let me crank up the volume. We're going to play it again.
an option for 120 hertz mode. So, gamers know frame rate counts, 120 hertz in racing, that's where the action's at. On top of that, Dirt 5 will leverage the smart delivery technology. So you buy the game on Xbox One, you can play on Xbox Series X as soon as you get a new console. You buy it on Xbox.
So, Cyanide, you're saying if I have a 144 hertz monitor, it has the ability to go to 144 frames. So they are the same thing, but one is what your display can do versus the way your computer. I mean, it's like terminology based on display versus computer then, but essentially they are a one-to-one thing. The Rocket Legends is top-notch. Awesome. I've heard that before, by the way. That's how I feel. That's how I feel, Norman, and that's why I'm still to this day, I don't go out on a limb and act like I know. Well, wouldn't you hope that the development director would know? It sounds to me like we have two things. Your computer is spitting it out in frames per second, but your frames per second is going to be capped by your monitor's refresh rate in hertz, which we're measuring seconds, coincidentally, is pretty much identical to frame rate. So if I have 120 frame rate monitors, and no matter what I see frame rates, if my computer says it's doing 200, I'm only seeing 120. Correct? All right, there you go. I think that's as close as we're going to get today. Thank you, guys. Thank you. So your true cap. Now, for me, what do I know? I don't know nothing about this stuff, but I do know this. I know from results of trial and error that I need my frame rates to be at 120 minimum while racing for me to even be close to happy, regardless of what my monitors are doing. This is true if I'm at CXC and I'm on televisions, essentially, where we're not running at 120 hertz or 144 hertz. At least we weren't until very recently. It didn't matter as much as the FPS count being high enough to keep everything working at a high enough lowest common denominator, I feel. Anyway, all right, let's move along. Yes, lots going on. We've heard that the Legend stuff is some of the best out of that series if you are going to watch it. It's so true, John. You know, you got to figure, though, when you're playing a game at 30 FPS, there's one thing different about sim racing compared to, like, keyboard gaming. When I'm keyboard gaming, I'm watching what's happening. I press a button. When I say keyboard, I don't mean driving. I mean, like, let's just talk about first-person shooters or other types of games. But when I hit the button, it fires the gun. In sim racing, I'm watching. This is the equivalent to firing the button. And then I'm waiting for that signal to go back to the computer to then kind of... I think you have two parts of force feedback. You have what the game's doing and then what it's doing in reaction. But all of this is a little bit of delay. So when you think about FPS, 30 FPS days of gaming, we were like driving in the past. You know, like our steering wheel was so delayed to what we were seeing. But see, we all acclimated and we learned, like, if you drive a boat, you know a boat doesn't turn like a car. So you learn to turn in advance to hit the mark that you want. Yeah, latency. Exactly. That's, well, I don't know if I believe that number anymore, by the way. I know that I've heard that for years and decades, 24 FPS being like the cap on the human. I don't know if I actually believe that, though, because if you watch video at different frame rates, you know a huge difference. If you subliminally put images into a 24 FPS video, I believe you would see that flash. If you put an image into like 60 or 100 frames per second, I don't know if you'd still do. So I think we actually see faster than 24 FPS is what I'm getting at. What are you barking at, buddy? What else? Fluid, yes. See, I think we see, and I think the other thing is that we're not capped. We're a variable. Hey, is there someone at the door? All right, you guys, hold on. Sorry, I'm so sorry. So sorry. If there was someone at the door, he'd still be barking. Okay. Grid. They just released a bunch of updates to Grid across all platforms. It includes a release of Grid Season 3 on Google Stadia. And you can look at the full notes. I did pull them up, and they're right here. Kona said, update, fixed. That was all in post-Season 3. Platform fixes, game performance on PC should now reflect that experience in pre-season 2. Stadia, bug fixes, etc. No, Greg, he wouldn't bark at Greg unless it was just when Greg came through the door. Nope, that's a great thing about having a dog. I know for a fact there's no one behind me. Unless they got my dog. Max! NASCAR Heat showing off there. ESport Weekend. ESport Weekend recap. Kyle Arnold winning at Dover in the PS4 version. And there he is in his uni. And then we got a shot at Justin Brooks, who won at Dover in the Xbox. I'm assuming. I'm looking for some indication somewhere to confirm. Xbox. They don't. I'm assuming that's what is going on. And I don't know what that is. Okay, what else? Gran Turismo. Oh, this is kind of cool. So if you follow Gran Turismo Racing, then you'll know this guy, Tom Brooks. Tom Brooks comms shows us around his rig. The voice of Gran Turismo, Tom Brooks.
It's Tom Brooks here. Some of you may know me as the voice of Gran Turismo Sport, as well as a commentator for the FIA Gran Turismo Championships. And today, I'm going to show you around my office and, more importantly, my GT rig as well. So getting into the rig itself, you can see that I've got a Simatic K2 cockpit, which
that
is
might
combined
be
with
Steve.
An old race seat that I managed to pick up for about 100 quid. That is also combined with the Thrustmaster T.
Pause. How much is a quid?
Wheel.
Hey, I said pause. What the? Hey. Oh, I think I touched the space bar and screwed everything up. Well, how much is a quid? What's a quid? Uh-oh, we really messed it up now, huh?
They know me as the
how much is a quid? He said 100 quid.
voice of Gran Turismo Sport, as well as a commentator for the FIA Gran Turismo Championships. And today I'm going to show you around my office.
A quid is a pound. Okay. Thank you.
So getting into the rig itself, you can see that I've got a Simatic K2 cockpit, which is combined with an old race seat that I managed to pick up for about 100 quid. That is also
the seat was
combined
100
with
quid.
the Thrustmaster TGT wheel that I use, which I combine with the shifter and handbrake attachment on GT Sport. Pedal-wise, very simply, just using the standard pedals.
The voice of the
with
Sim Pit.
the TGT, but I do like the feel that they give off. Hopefully, I'll join you guys for a few races online very soon.
Good question, Jason. Why do they call it both? Do we? We call it $1. We call it a buck. Buck is really slangy, though. I don't think it's the same. Well, quid. Quid is slangy, right? Is quid like us calling it a buck? Thank you, Cranky. Oh, you said the exact same thing. Jakes. All right, what else? Rseat posted this. This is actually how I found out about it. VirtualR.net. New beginning, old management. All right, so if you're new to sim racing, VirtualR might not mean much. You're like, whatever. Is that vaporware wheel that we're not, hey, contender, how you doing? VirtualR was one of the most important websites in sim racing, and if you wanted to, if they were to do a Simmies or a Sim Hall of Fame awards, and I'm not saying who the first or last inductees to that thing would be, but there's no denying in my mind that one of the early influencers that really helped sim racing, R-Factor in particular, grow to a point of massive levels beyond what it would have achieved on its own. It was VirtualR. It was a site that really focused on making sure the modding community had a place to be seen and heard and found. It allowed me to make statements to people that I'd meet on the street about and talking sim racing. They'd say, "What do you do?" I'd be like, "Oh, I do sim racing." They're like, "What's that?" And I'm like, "Well, let me just tell you. If you name me a car, like, I don't care what kind of car, if it has any kind of following or any kind of iconic history whatsoever, you could drive it. Name a track, past, present, in some cases even future. If it's important to the world, you could drive it. Name your car, name your track, and you could recreate it in sim racing. You can't make that statement anymore. That was a statement that you could make in the early 2000s on the backs of the modding community and R Factor, the game, the sim. VirtualR is what made that easy to facilitate. I'm going to say possible, no. Image Space Incorporated, they made it possible by making R Factor a very great, somewhat open-ended sim. A baby to what R Factor 2 has become, but a different type of sim nonetheless. VirtualR went out. I believe his name is Montoya, the person in charge. If I could be wrong, it's been a long time. I'm tapping my memory, which fails me at times. I'm sure somebody knows and can confirm that name. But anyway, as you may have noticed during the past week, VirtualR is operational again, run by myself. Montoya, there we go. The site's original founder, and for the most of the past 13 years, sole editor. Good luck to you, buddy. I remember having many conversations with you back in the day. I wish you the best. If you can capture anything that you captured back then, for today's sim racing world, I'm going to be really happy because it's still something that is somewhat lacking. There's no one who done it the way our VirtualR did it back in the day, news-wise. So, anyway, you can look out for them doing more. What else? Race Room brings me to another site. It wasn't just VirtualR, by the way. It was a combination of VirtualR in conjunction with R Factor Central, to be totally fair, for what R Factor really was and became. But who knows? Who knows what we're going to see in the future? At this point in time, honestly, Race Department has sort of filled in for a combination of the two sites combined, almost a VirtualR combined with an R Factor Central. The only problem is it's not quite as easy as it was back then. Yeah, BSim there on top of certain news. Sure. Race Room, they had their DTM ESport Weekend. ESport Weekend. This is the Race Room variation of it, and double podium for their DTM champion, Renee Rast Racing. 2 third-place finishes at Anderstorp. See you next weekend for round 3. Dave Blair, have a good day at work. Good luck. Race Room British Championship. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, yep, lots of that. All right, here's some new news on Fanatec's blog today. European dates always mess me up. What date is that? So that is May 14th. Wait. May 14th. So that's in 3 days. May 14th is in 3 days. That's Thursday at 3 p.m. CET. Much like the previous 2 years, we are celebrating our ongoing partnership with Formula One by launching a new limited edition steering wheel. In 2018, they revealed the gold accented wheel, which introduced the new generation features now found in their Club Sport steering wheel. Last year, they went with the silver bright theme. Can you guess what's next? Are you on pins and needles in anticipation of what could be next in the next color scheme, going from gold to silver? I don't. I'm sorry. Anyway, the 2020 edition of the Fanatec F1 licensed wheel in limited quantity, and we'll get our reveal on Thursday. Oh, Sim Contender, I can't wait till it's gone. Alright, what else? Dave Blair, you just left! Dave Blair, you just left. I shouldn't have even let you left. Dave Blair just put out a video on the crew channel. So this is the SimPit crew on YouTube. And this is Dave Blair giving you his very... Whoa, hey, no. Oh, now we have to do ads again? Great, good going, Shaun. Copper, platinum. So this is Dave Blair with his long overdue look into ACC VR. So his thought on his new settings and whether they're good or not. Spoiler alert. No, I'm not gonna spoil it. Go check it out if you are interested in seeing how Dave did with VR and his settings. Maybe it can help you. Now this, just shut up then. That's the thing. Then just shut up. Get back on your yacht and just shut up. Hamilton, no benefit whatsoever to sim racing. I think you might be missing the point. Your sport that you have bagged millions of dollars off of is dependent on idiots like you. Sorry, Lewis, I'm not very happy with you today. To help them not lose their fan base. So the benefit is being able to continue on. The benefit is to be able to continue to make the millions of friggin' dollars you make each year, and you're a friggin' idiot, Lewis Hamilton. There you go. Hamilton, no fan of sim racing with one exception. I don't even care what his friggin' exception is. It's all over the place. Hamilton, racing without fans is better than nothing. Yeah, I'm sure, so you can keep cashing checks. You know what? I'm done with listening to Hamilton. There you go. Hamlin, ready for return to real racing under a microscope, because much like everybody else, they're going to be doing it in a very interesting way. We'll see how it all works. I was rethinking the whole... I'm not going to get into that. I wish them all the best of luck. I hope we don't get any cases where it makes us look bad or not doing it right or anything. So, anyway... Again, I have the links. I know I blow through a few of these stories. Down below, I have the links to all of them, so you can go read what Lewis really said. Oh, we're not gonna get that deep into a rant, Jerry. Here, Hindustan Times. Not sure what that is. In India, I believe. Racing with real cockpits. How an Indian-born CEO is looking to revolutionize esport in the country. Something which started in 72 and took a while, so it reached an all-time high of 1.1 billion in 2019. Now it's expected the esport empire could hit 2.17 billion by 2023. So if you want some good reading, I'm just here to give you guys things to look for in the day, in case you didn't find it. Shaun, stop. Chris Phillips says, stop taking this so personally. Okay, I agree with you on one hand, Chris, and on the other hand, I'm going to tell you this, though. Who I'm a fan of or who I don't like is affected by who... they have that old saying for, winning an election, it's who you want to have a beer with kind of thing. If that's Lewis Hamilton's attitude, then he is the least likely of the F1 drivers that I want to have a beer with. So I think that's the angle that I'm taking more than taking it. I can give a shit. Oh, I'll drop in due time. I could give an S about what Lewis Hamilton really thinks, to be honest with you. I just don't like the press of him feeling the need to go out and when someone puts a microphone trashing my hobby sport industry. This is my industry. So... he's trashing my industry, which means I don't like him. I don't like anybody who's going to trash my industry. And whether we're talking sim racing or what you do for a living, if you're a paramedic and people are out there trashing paramedics, I don't think you would feel very kindly. If you heard that they are famous and they are trashing paramedics, I would think you'd have quite an argument for them. Anyway, that's my angle. It's not so much... offended. Well, it is. No, I'll take that. It is offended. Let me do my 10. Hold on. Yeah, I also wonder how many of the people who talk it are just ones who suck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Lewis Hamilton wins every race, mainly on the engineering backs of his team. Partially his driving. The guy's an exceptional, gifted driver, maybe one of the best of all time. But make no mistake, a lot of what he's achieving is on the backs of many, many, many people beyond him. And he's very used to winning. So, you should do 10 more so you're up one. Steven, I should, every time I drop, I should just do that by default. But yeah, I think that if Lewis Hamilton was capable of winning those races, he'd be singing a different tune. Peter Stern, some people argue that sim racing is what got his brother an actual chance to get into real life racing. Buddy of mine showing enthusiasm for North Wilkesboro coming out today. SnowRunner video. Master Off-Road. Chris, are you still here, I hope? So earlier today in our Discord, you posted, you posted I fixed it. Okay. Thank you, Flight. Earlier you posted about how people are going to be leaving sim racing discouraged, right? Well, I think that type of an article from somebody is influential as Lewis Hamilton. I think that furthers that problem of losing frustrated people when all of a sudden Lewis is like, oh, well, I think it's trash. So, anyway. All right, enough with that. And Chris, I just meant that as conversation, by the way. I'm not trying to attack you in any way, shape, or form, by the way. Chris knows me very well. We're buddies. I don't... Read what he actually says. All right, do we have time to read what he actually says? Alright, Hamilton, I never drive simulators, very, very rarely. With simulators, it's very, very difficult because the movement is never perfect. It's something they constantly try to improve on. Obviously, if you're at home with the simulator, the seat doesn't move, your mind is telling you that the car is moving, but you're not getting any cueing of movements. I don't find personally any benefit whatsoever doing a simulation thing, but the fun gaming side of things, when you get to play with friends and people online, that's a plus. Well, okay, so my main argument or point on this is the benefit. Well, he is trying to act as though right now the reason everyone's doing esport is for, what, the benefit of being better at racing? I don't think many guys in the esport, pro esport right now, are actually thinking that this is benefiting their racing. That's not the point. The point is benefiting your sport that you have been the recipient of. The sport that is, again, one of the things that I've argued for quite... do we have to get the rant hat out? We're getting closer. We're getting closer. One of the things that I have to tell you guys, now keep in mind, I live in California. I live in Southern California. I live in the hybrid capital of the world. I live in the part of the states where they are most likely to push for no more petrol vehicles, right? California is the state that is closing racetracks left and right because the people here don't like it. Now, with that said, I'm not trying to get political. I just think that I feel like California is on the forefront of what will eventually work its way to everywhere. And so with that said, I just have to tell you guys, now, I grew up in a different era to an extent. So when I think about racing and I think about its future, I truly am concerned. Now, I don't have money invested in any motorsport. I'm truly concerned as a fan that, wow, I don't know if gas-burning engines are going to be around forever. I wonder even something sacred like Pomona drag strip, and how long will LA tolerate that noise and pollution, whatever they're going to say about it. So when I think about motorsport's one of those industries, you know, they talk about like your local restaurant. I mean, anybody, I don't care what country you're in, we're all being affected by what's going on right now. They talk about the mom and pop shops. They talk about the restaurant on the corner. And I'm not talking the Olive Garden, which is nationwide. I'm talking about the little shop. Will it still be here as a result of what's going on? Because there's going to be a lasting impact on certain industries. And I think it's safe to say as sports are reopening without people in the stands, are they going to be the same? Racing, if you look at certain series, racing has already been struggling. I don't know if they can afford to struggle further. So when I get back to benefit whatsoever as being part of his thinking, well, to me, the benefit isn't necessarily the benefit of being a better racer. The benefit is doing your part to save your sport, your industry, to make sure, you know, and Lewis Hamilton being Lewis Hamilton is truly the biggest ambassador of the sport. It's not just F1, it's F2, it's F3, it's all the way down to Formula V. So all I'm going to say is he doesn't have to make these statements. He just needs to go away. Don't do it then. That's all I'm saying. Don't do it then. But don't come out telling me it's no benefit. It is a benefit. And if you think it's fun to go play with your friends and then why aren't you out? Because he's not friends with any. Because nobody in Formula One likes Lewis Hamilton other than Lewis Hamilton and his fans. That's why. That's why. All right, I'm done. Where were we? We were over here. SnowRunner video, master off-road driving with 8 useful tips. Anyway, I love SnowRunner. I played it. It was fun. I struggle with it at times. And anyway, they have a tips video that may or may not help you guys. A lot of my friends are playing this right now. So, there you go. Sanchez, yo, following on Twitch. Thank you very much. I think we'll see a transfer to electric racing. 393. This is what I predict. My prediction. I could be wrong. I think we're going to see a transfer to electric racing, and then I think that electric racing will lack a certain something that gas-burning engines provided. The thunderous sounds, the smell, and I think that when you're left with just burnt-in electric motor and burnt rubber as the only smell involved with racing, I don't know if people are going to want to be trackside. Right now, I love the smell of burnt race fuel. I think most race fans do. So we tolerate the burnt rubber smell because I don't think anyone actually likes the smell of burnt rubber. Super Farva, no. Well, yes, they do. They have single controller support in SnowRunner. So yeah, I think electric will be a continuation of the sport, but then it will not make it. And it might not even make it because David S., not in our lifetime. I almost agree with you because here's what I really think. I think they'll try to make that conversion, but the sport will implode. Because, gosh, outside of really, really highest level like Formula One, I'm not sure they're all even making money in some years most times. The Czar, what's not updating? Yeah, liberal states are there. I see the push here, Scott. I really do. I mean, living here in Southern California, I see the writing on the wall. I see what a state like California will do is eventually they will start charging you extra money. They'll charge you a carbon tax to drive a gas-burning vehicle. And I think this will happen within the next 10 years for sure. I agree with that too. I agree that all of them won't. I think a lot of them will, though. I think without bigger market, I don't know if the money's there. I mean, I think what might happen is that racing will be downsized. racing will be downsized to a local level. It'll be downsized to a grassroots level where it will live on. Because am I going to stop racing? No. Are you going to stop racing? No. So I think that it'll get downsized. It can't go away until they take it away. I think that even when they do start getting rid of gas vehicles, my prediction would be that they'll still leave exemptions for things like racing. Yeah, I turned on a Formula E clip the other day, and it was just like, ee, that noise, and I'm like, oh, I can't. This is silly. This is silly. Okay, Cranky. Now I agree with you more on there because the new electric motocross bikes are pretty badass. However, I'm gonna miss the ripping sound of a motorbike. I mean, I think that motorcycle racing took a big hit when they went from two-stroke to four-stroke. And the days of two-stroke were so much cooler sounding. I don't know. For me, sound and smell is a big part of racing. They might, Theodore. That would be one approach. Oh yes, it's. I mean, they're gonna have to think. They are. More details coming out for NASCAR Heat 5 revealed, along with pre-order bonuses and content included with the Gold Edition. What's new? Improved stats, gameplay enhancements, brand new testing mode, challenge mode, paint booth, exclusive content. Tony Stewart, we've talked about all that. The Gold Edition includes the 3 Tony Stewart paint schemes. You get some extra money, all that kind of stuff. There you go. I think we knew all that. I think we knew this too. Drift 21 available on Steam. Early access. Save 10% until May 14th. 505 Games and the ECC Games. SA have released their Drift Racing Simulations game, which I have not heard the best things of. Yeah, well, and again, at Maxer, when you are talking about a state like California, again, think about where in time that should change. Like right now, I think they just like don't even care what kind of motor it is. But at some point, they're going to have to start opening up terrain if the impact is lower. I mean, that's one of the arguments. And again, I'm like one of these middle-of-the-road guys, and I'm really upset because I love California. But like they've made so much of California like off limits unless you're like on foot, to the point that nobody does that. And like I think the way you could talk about horse trails, you could talk about bike trails, you could talk about dirt bike trails, even car trails. It's like they made so much of it illegal but nobody's out there on foot. You know, but if you opened it up to the equestrians, there'd be 100 people on horses. Or if you opened it up to the bikes, there'd be 300 people on bikes. California's weird in that way. I don't know if was this part of something we already talked about. This could be dated late. It was May 8th. So it was 3 days ago on Friday. This was posted to Operation. So wasn't sure if I missed this or not. I thought we talked about everything Wreckfest. I stay on top of it. But patch 1.43 did come out. Here's some of the changes that are there. Audio changes, gameplay, and that kind of stuff. That's the noise Forza Horizon 4 Series 22 update adds homologated rally cars. Homologated, I can never say that right. From the 90s. The Nissan Pulsar, Ford Racing Puma, Toyota Celica ST185 and ST205 from 94. Peugeot 205 Rally, and the Mitsubishi Starion ESI. The 94 Toyota Celica, is that the all-wheel drive Celica? That was a badass little car, if I'm not mistaken. Try turning off. Oh, so a buddy of mine had a problem. It was not identical to this weekend playing iRacing. His game was capped at 60 frames per second. And so he couldn't figure out what. And every time he did any kind of search, anytime he searched at all it would come back to is VSync, G-Sync. Everyone was convinced his problem was VSync, G-Sync. Windows has been doing a lot of updates. What's going on for me right now is Windows doesn't update, screws everything up. OBS doesn't update, screws everything up. iRacing doesn't update, screws everything up. It's like trying to keep track of all of the updates right now is insanity. So this is one article at PC Gamer saying try turning off Windows 10 game mode if your games are stuttering or freezing. So this has been going on across the board. The one that I found, by the way, was a little different than that. The one I found actually involved going to, this was iRacing specific. So if you're on iRacing or having a problem with max 60 frames and it's not a VSync or G-Sync issue, you actually want to go to iRacing on your, under Program 86, iRacing, and then you want to go down to the actual EXE. So in this case, it's iRacing Sim 64 DX11. You want to right-click it, go to Properties. You want to go to Compatibility, and you want to disable full screen optimizations. Now, it sounds like you would want that on, but this is something that Windows does, and it fails miserably. It'll lock you at 60 frames, despite what you do in iRacing, despite what you do in NVIDIA or AMD configurators. So if you're having a 60 frame lock and it's not G or V sync related in iRacing, that is your quick little fix from Shaun on how to do that. In the case of if you're just having general stuttering or freezing, turn off your Windows 10 game mode. There you go. There you go. Now you know. Don't know, Cranky, specifically what it's to. Alright, what was this all about? This was... Oh, check this out. HDC. Heavy Duty Challenge. Start your engines. Heavy Duty Challenge is in development for PC and console. This is interesting. Authentic simulation of off-road driving experience. 12 real trucks, each with unique cabin view. 5 real locations recreated from actual truck trail championship areas. Various customization options, realistic off-road physics, and deformable terrain. Now all you guys out there are sitting there going, yeah, but what about VR? What about wheel support? I don't know. Lifelike visual and sound effects to enhance the experience. 2 perspectives, cabin view, TPP with 5 additional camera angles, competitive mechanics, leaderboards, gamepad, and steering wheel support, and nothing about VR. Anyway, heavy duty challenge, something maybe we can look forward to in the future. All right, but Joa, so do you think that electric racing is superior? Because I could argue that fuel injection is far superior to carburation. Yeah, Cranky, the slow driving sims. Bus sim. Speaking of slow driving sims, live the American dream with the latest professional farmer spinoff. What is this one called? This is Professional Farmer 2017. What? Yep. You heard that right. Not sure what that's all about. Priced at €16.74. Or is that pounds? That might be pounds. Anyway, there's another option. I'm not going to get it. Gran Turismo 7. Gran Turismo 7 forum is now open on GT Planet. The next generation of gaming is just over the horizon, with both of the main players in the next-gen console market winding up the hype and anticipation. With that in mind, I am excited to announce the new Gran Turismo 7 forums open today on GT Planet. That was posted by Jordan Greer, head of GT Planet. Okay, we're getting to the end of the show. That's good. That's good. All right, AZ Racing, GT and F1 tubular cockpits. Look at this welded monstrosity. Pretty badass. I don't mean monstrosity in a bad way. I mean that is badass. Pretty serious rig right there. We have a price on such a thing? We have a price, comes in black. $8.99. That's not bad. $12.99 for the Pro. Not sure the difference between the two. That might be... I don't know. I'm finding this one at SimRace Hardware Reviews, and that takes us to winter. So, like I said, I had an awesome weekend. Lots of racing this weekend. I just noticed that's top 6, not top 5. But that's okay. At Texas on Friday night in the SimPit Oval Series, Matt Wagner was the winner of the race with Mark Michkowski in second, Joe Hildinger in third, Joe Antonio in fourth, and I found myself in fifth. There's our final standings for everybody who was in the race. Look at this crowd. We had 40 drivers grid up for Friday night's Oval Series. We are at capacity for that series and having a lot of fun with it. That led to Saturday. Saturday was our patron race, our patron appreciation race. If you guys don't know about the patron program, there's a link down below. It is a support group for the SimPit, and I mean it in so many ways. There's a financial support that helps us grow and get better things for the show, and then there's that emotional support. If not for those guys, I would have jumped off the ledge years ago. Anyway, we ran our SimPit appreciation race, and yesterday, Anthony Morano Jr. wins the race and gets his name, wins the trophy. Anthony, I have your plaque, but I didn't like the way it printed. So I'm reprinting it, and I'm going to get this all in the mail today. Tomorrow. I had to reprint. I had to kind of change the plaque a little bit. But there is our winning picture. That is Anthony Morano Jr. He gets his name on the trophy, winning the SimPit Patron race at Watkins Glen, which was really fun to watch. We had a really good race. Overall standings, Morano Jr. wins, David Grunwald in second, Randall White in third, Devin Booth in fourth, and Ola Sarnquist came in fifth. And then that takes us to Sunday. Sunday is when we had our SimPit GT1 challenge, the Corvette versus the Aston Martin. This has been one of the most challenging series I think any of us have done in a long time. Yeah, we had a good-sized grid for that one, considering it's a road race in a very, very difficult car. One of the hardest cars you're going to drive. David Gruttle wins that race over Benjamin Morton, Joa Antonio in third, Randall White in fourth, and Chris Generelli coming in fifth place. And I'll give you an update on the points for both those series. Friday night for the Oval Series and Sunday for the GT1 Challenge. But David Grunwald wins the race, Benjamin Morton, Joe Antonio, Randall White, Chris Generelli are our top 5 from that day. So good racing, really fun racing across the board. We had 28 cars start at Spa. That is phenomenal. A lot of leagues have a hard time. We're getting into the last third of our season, and we're still carrying great numbers. If you'd like to race with us, there's still room. If you send in an application, I will accept you. But I will warn you, at this point, there's no room for shenanigans. If you can't control those cars, if you don't know what you're doing, please don't enter. Join us next season. We will be carrying on an oval and a road series here at the SimPit on iRacing for the coming season. So you can count on that in the future. I have a feeling we are going to stick with the Cup cars in the Oval Series for another season. We're probably going to do everything just the way we did, but just change it up race-wise. And then for the Road Series, we are now considering, and anybody with opinions and thought on this, it's time to start speaking up. I think we might be doing a GT4 series, running all the GT4 cars. So pick what you want to run, and that will be what we're doing. Brad, the Gen 3. Oh, Brad, you just really put a stiff link in my chain. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, we might. I don't know. That's going to be in play. All right, let's check out a few rigs and then call it a day. I have things I've got to do. Back to work. I got to work my ass off this week because I really have to schedule a little vacation or time off, which means I really have to work my ass off to get caught up and ahead. That looks like a Ricmotech RS1 or RS1 copy. Just finished his rig. It's not perfect, but he couldn't be happier with it. I like that he did some nice custom paint on this one. This was posted by, I had the name on the other one, Brew Hawaii. And some shots of his fine-looking rig. That is definitely an RS1. Ricmotech RS1 plans. We need broadcast announcers for our series. You know, if there was a way to, if somebody would like to step up and do that, I would be more than interested to talk to them about it. Devin? Yeah, we're kind of anticipating another one, but we might be getting ahead of ourselves. So, we still have a few weeks though. We're not in there, but I'm definitely shushy most. See, oh, that's a great idea, Scott. We'll see if Lewis, man, Billy, if he could drive while announcing, wouldn't that be something? Here's a rig posted also on Reddit. This one by C Tetters. Posted this the other day, and his WRC inspired rig. Who's this guy? Who's this? Nice looking rig. He's got his Assetto Corsa wheel. Button box on a Logitech. Nice looking setup. And then finally, to close out today's show, we have this one here by CLOS2727. Like to say he's done, but we all know that ain't true. So true, so true. Check out this thing. Track racer on a giant, oh God, what's the name of this? SRF, TRD, I can't remember. Look at those actuators. That's that one that we talk about. ARF, Fanatec podium, base, club sport pedals, seatbelt modification, thin bezeled triple screens. Wears his gloves when racing. A bruisey. SFX 100. Thank you, Jason Clark. I can never remember that name. Shift knob on the ground. Wind sim, ducted wind sim. That's a P1 chassis, isn't it? That's a track racer copy of a P1 chassis. That's what it is. There we go. All right. So that takes us to the end of today's show. Hey, I got to thank you guys. I got to thank you a ton. Really great conversation. I hope you didn't. I hope you guys don't misunderstand my rants or comments sometimes. I mean, I just try to speak what's on my mind. I try to bring things up for the point of conversation as much as anything else. I will say I am rubbed wrong when people unnecessarily trash our sport. I love sim racing very much. I want the best for our industry. I'm willing to take a fair amount of S to get there, but at the same time, at certain times, it does get me a little rubbed wrong, especially when in the midst of being taken over by those groups as well. Anyway, so I hope it wasn't misunderstood too much. Hopefully, you guys like the rants. That's good. That's good. Anyway, that's going to do it for this one. Thank you for being part of the Sim Pit community. Thank you for being part of the pit crew and just making it fun to do this show, sit around with sim racers, and talk about sim racing. But that's going to do it for this one. Get out there, do some sim racing. This is the Sim Pit. I'm Shaun Cole, and I'll see you on the track.